If so, we are going to go through the presentation. At that time, if you have any questions or comments on what has been presented, please raise your hand and we will unmute you and you can ask your questions then. So currently, I am going to introduce, so my name is Shelly Kunishige. I'm with the Public Affairs Office, and I am going to introduce our Hawaii Island District Engineer, Annette Matsuda, and our construction engineer, Clifford Corpus. Okay. Today's agenda, we are going to go through what a traffic emergency zone is, what a traffic emergency zone will enable us to do, and why we are declaring a traffic emergency for this section of the Daniel K. Inouye Highway. And we will also discuss the short-term mitigations and potential long-term mitigations. So traffic emergency zones are a power authorized under Hawaii Revised Statutes Section 264-1.5, which allows the Director of Transportation or governor or mayor to set a traffic emergency zone for areas where there is significant health and safety concerns, and they may that traffic emergency zone designation may continue for a period of up to 5 years. So the reason we are designating a traffic emergency zone for the Daniel K. Inouye Highway Route 200 is due to the fatal crash history. This graphic shows the mile markers and crashes between 2021 and yesterday, 2026. I am going to turn it over to our Hawaii district now to talk to the planned short-term actions that we have already taken, as well as what's upcoming.
Thanks, Shelly. So in this short-term action that we plan to take under this traffic emergency zone, first bullet point, planning on installing in-lane thermal plastic rumble strips. These are transverse rumble strips that will be located prior to the curves to alert drivers so that they can feel or hear, alerting them on the oncoming curves. We'll also be installing additional curve ahead chevron signs. Next bullet point, we'll be installing open graded friction course between mileposts 10 to 19. So this open graded friction course, basically what it is, it's porous. The pavement is porous, so water will travel below, so preventing any hydroplaning and resulting in better traction for the motorist. Next bullet point, wet weather road striping. So we'll be installing striping with, I guess, better high visibility type of striping, which will help in wet weather. Next bullet point, we'll be installing speed safety cameras to issue warnings to those traveling more than 11 miles over the posted speed limit set by HRS 291C-106. Next slide. So these are potential long-term options that we're looking into. The first one, which will, of course, will be the most expensive, is a full divided highway conversion, which basically converts the corridor into 2 lanes in each direction with a physical median separation. The next one is a 4-lane undivided, which adds an additional lane, so we have 2 lanes in each direction. Third option would be installing a concrete median barrier within the existing footprint. Next would be a high tension cable median barrier within the existing footprint. Number 5, which correlates to the illustration you see on the right-hand side of the slide. Basically restriping the highway for alternate direction passing lanes. This would allow alternating passing, so you could pass slower vehicles. Number 6 is provide stripe median to provide separation between opposing traffic. The last one is speed management automated enforcement, which so it's potential future speed camera enforcement, targeted enforcement zones, and dynamic speed feedback systems. So those are all the long-term potential options that we're looking at. Not set yet on which ones, but we're looking into them all.
Okay, before I move into questions, Clifford, would you like to go over the schedule for the open grade friction course and the long-term mitigation study?
Yeah, so starting Monday, the contractor will start the installation of the open graded friction course from mile marker. We're going to start from separated into 2 sections. So we're going to start more Malka, which is between mile marker 16 to 19. We'll get that section done, and after that, we're going to move over to mile marker 10 to 16. The reason why we're starting on the mile marker 16 to 19 is because that's where we have a higher rate of fatalities in that area. It'll take approximately a month to get this open graded friction course completed. Let's see, as far as the long term, so we'll be getting a report on I guess within 4 months on what potential long term options we'll be going with.
Thank you, Clifford. So we have 2 questions in the chat. One is, how do any proposed improvements affect the longevity of the highway?
So as far as the open grade friction course, I know we've installed that at Covely Gulch, and for the most part, it's been holding up pretty well. I think it was installed about 10 years ago, so I guess only time will tell. We'll see how long this type of pavement will last.
Okay, and then the next question, which we will take back and check in with the local law enforcement and DLE on is there potential for law enforcement to also ticket illegal passing? Then the next question, currently lack of signage directing slower traffic to keep right.
Yeah, so we will be installing more of those signage.
Okay, and then next question in the chat, what does data show as the most common cause of crashes? Are the short-term remedies here addressing the most common crash causes? And I can take that somewhat. So of the crashes, let me go back to the slide showing. Of the fatal crashes between 2021 and 2026, the majority were crossover head-on collisions. So that is something that we addressed with So we addressed in certain areas with the delineator and tough curb, and that will be addressing further with the open grade friction course to reduce the chance of vehicle losing control. And then we'll be looking into with the long-term fixes. So next question after that is, for a short time, an electronic board displayed X number of days since the last traffic fatality. I found this to be an effective reminder of the perilous nature of the highway. Why did this go away, and can a similar solution be deployed?
So I
So
know
that,
we've
yeah.
I know we've had that. Guess we could probably look into that and you know continue that again potentially.
Okay, thank you, Clifford. Then the next question, why only look at crash data from 2021 to 2026? So the long-term study will be looking at more crash data for the purposes of this traffic emergency zone designation. We are basing it off of the recent crash rate. Next question is, of the fatalities, how many have occurred due to wet weather?
From what I see, but it's really hard to say. I know for sure one of them was for sure.
So that actually, of the motor vehicle accident reports, I believe 5 of the 10 there were wet weather conditions at the time of the crash. And then the next question is, understandably, a 4-lane divided highway would provide the safest option. With the current width of the road, is there enough room to redraw the lines to provide 4 lanes and shoulders, or would a 4th lane have to be poured? So that will be explored in the long-term study we're looking at that will be addressed in 4 months. Okay, next question. Will you install signs saying how far to the next passing lane?
Well, we can look into that and see if that's something we could put in.
Okay, and then, has hydroplaning been shown to be an issue or cause, and how does the new surface mitigate issues?
So like I mentioned earlier, as far as the open grade, so it's porous, so the water goes it goes through the asphalt and traverses uh, across the road. So it doesn't. There's no surface water, I guess, increasing traction for these uh, vehicles.
Okay, next question. Is it possible to impose a minimum speed limit on the DKI? This is done on Highway 190, where the maximum speed limit is 50 miles per hour, but there is also a minimum speed of 40 miles per hour.
Um, yeah, I think that would be an option we could probably explore.
Okay, and then the next question, what will the change in law enforcement look like to enforce speeding and reckless driving? So that is something that our director requested of the Hawaii Police Department and the Department of Law Enforcement. So we will take that question back to them and provide a response. Next question. While very tragic, only using data from 2021 to 2026 skews the data. So that is, we generally look at 3 to 5 years of crash history when employing countermeasures. So of course, the long-term study will look at more data. Then the next question slide shows 10 crashes with fatalities since 2021. How many accidents have happened altogether? We have a staff member who was involved in a head-on collision in 2023. Fortunately, there were no fatalities, but that was just by sheer luck. Clifford, I think you recently got the major traffic crashes from traffic.
I know I requested that. I didn't have a chance to calculate the amount yet.
Okay, got it. So for reference, our statewide highway accident crash analysis system looks at crashes basically involving property damage over $3,000 or involving serious injury requiring EMS transport or hospitalization. So that data will also be incorporated into the long-term study. Then next question, will you make additional lanes for passing along the way to help get around slow trucks, slow tourists, and those drivers that are determined to go to the speed limit to police other drivers?
That is one option that we're looking at, potential pull-out lanes as well. So, yeah, we are looking into that.
Okay, next question. There are currently no passing lanes going down into Hilo. Could you add passing lanes on that side by restriping?
We would have to reevaluate the passing zones first, and see if that's warranted.
And when Clifford says reevaluate the passing lanes, one aspect of that is for sight distance. And then the next question, has there been any discussion about providing a dedicated police force for the highway? I don't believe there has been, but we are working on getting 2 speed cameras on the highway for warning purposes. So they would be set to 11 miles over the posted speed limit. Next question, there is room to expand the highway corridor width through this portion of the highway. The DLNR is the land steward. It is forest reserve. So that I would take that back to our planning section for any major widening projects that would need to be on our statewide transportation improvement program. So we'll take that back to our planning section and see if we can get a response for you on that. And then next, will there be any public service ad campaign? We need to change people's mindset about their behaviors. So we do have multiple public service ad campaigns currently, Safe Roads, our Safe Roads app, but we will consult with local law enforcement and other agencies and look at more targeted messaging. Okay, divided highway or additional passing lanes going into Hilo and other portions of the highway are supported. Again, that will be addressed in the long-term study. If you're repaving the roadway surface, wouldn't it make sense to restripe the roadway with potential additional passing lanes or alternating passing lanes now versus later?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But we could always change it out afterwards too uh, if if we cannot determine now if alternating passing lanes is the option to go with. So, but we are working with a consultant to determine uh, if we should install additional passing lanes or alternating passing lanes. So um, that is an ongoing thing that will determine.
Okay. And then other states have used ticket issuing speed cameras, and I believe they all have been sued citing constitutionality of the cameras. Is that taken into consideration? So yes, our system is registered vehicle owner responsibility. So we are not taking any images of the driver. What we're talking about right now for the cameras that will be installed is merely warnings. So it's going to be warnings only, and for events over of 11 miles over the posted speed limit. And then, is it possible to place electronic signage saying how fast you are going? So that is, I believe, one of the items that is going to be looked into, the speed feedback signs. Next question, what is the plan for funding these changes or to convert a full divided highway conversion? So Clifford, do you want to talk about how much the short-term improvements are going to be estimated at and what the funding source is?
Um, I don't. So this is super rough as far as the open graded, but we're thinking it's gonna be approximately 15 million. Um, so as far as funding, we're going with state funds at the moment. Um, as far as a food divided highway, that would be something that we'll have to look into if might need to federalize that and get assistance that way.
Yep, again, so that would need to go basically any federal aid projects need to go on our financially constrained statewide transportation improvement program. So that is a question we'll have to get back to. And then the next, periodic signs telling drivers their speed and flashing slow down are under consideration. So yes, let me go back to, that is one of the speed management potentials. And then have the center dividers cement K-rail. This would save lives from head-on collisions. Federal funding is available if requested.
That is one of the potential long-term options we're looking at.
Okay. And then are you looking into water drainage to solve hydroplaning dangers on the road?
Yes.
So yeah. How would you manage the ungulate population if concrete dividers are implemented?
Yeah, that would be something that we'll need to look into as well. That'll be part of the whole long-term study.
Okay. Then there's a comment, 4-lane divided could be in sections, not entirety. And again, that would be addressed in the potential long term. Will you folks be cutting grass and brush along the highway in these areas to improve line of sight?
I know our maintenance guys are going out there and clearing shoulders. But if there is any uh, line of sight issues, we'll have that addressed accordingly.
Okay. And the Saddle Road is a commercial thoroughfare with heavy trucks. 4-lane highway would be safer. And then any work being done in collaboration with car rental agencies. Many tourists drive down Saddle as if it was a racetrack.
I'm
Okay,
not
so
aware of
that
that.
Yeah, that's something that we can take back. We have done communications to rental car agencies on other issues, such as parking on Hana Highway. So we can coordinate with the tourism authority and on messaging for Saddle Road. Um, and then finally, can we go over dates on when everything will start again, please? So go back to
So
the
as
short term.
so as far as the short term, um, we're installing the open grade friction course. So we'll be starting that this coming Monday. It'll take approximately about a month to install. Um, we'll be installing striping though, that wet weather road striping from approximately mile marker 5.5 to 28. So um, that could potentially take a couple weeks to a month for the striping. So in total, I guess roughly a couple months.
Okay. I'm gonna give about 4 minutes for final questions. So we have another question. Can you explain the strategy behind the solutions being proposed? How do passing lanes work in conjunction with mitigating head-on collisions and a divided highway?
So as far as the long term, uh, we are looking into, uh, I guess, a study on what options would work best for us. Um, as far as the short term, um, trying to prevent hydroplaning as much as can. I know 90% and more is uh, attributed to driver behavior as far as factor for fatality. So
Okay. And then frustration of drivers following other drivers uncomfortable with driving conditions or going significantly slower than posted limits are a significant factor in the poor decisions to pass. Slow drivers are a part of the problem, just like reckless drivers, and slow drivers have contributed to near accidents and some dangerous accidents. So as part of the speed camera installation, they'll be doing a 7-day speed survey so we can get more data basically on the speeds that people are currently going on the highway. But I will note that some of our data has shown that people are going up to 109 miles per hour on DKI highway. Okay. Then the state is cutting $500 million over the next 10 years in the STP from 3.2 billion to 2.7 billion. If the highway is widened, it will take funding from other projects. So yes, that is something that any any large scale um, project like this would need to go through the STIP process. Okay, and then are flexible delineators being considered to deter dangerous passing? Would allow first responders and ungulates to cross. So Clifford, do you want to mention where we've already installed flexible delineators?
so we did install from between mile marker, I think it was 16.5 to 19. Um, they are 20 feet apart, so
And then what is a flexible delineator? So they
uh,
are plastic posts that are installed into the asphalt that typically can break away and um, won't cause additional harm if someone was to hit them. Okay, time is 1:30. I think we have time for one final question. If not, um, I will be ending this meeting, and we will be posting. Okay, here's one. So final question. What about creating center space between the two opposite highway lanes, a median strip? Currently, the opposite lanes are very tight.
Yeah, that is one option we're looking at as well.
Okay, so for that, I'm going to just an illustration of, I'm just going to show right here what a yellow painted median could potentially look like if basically if space allows. Okay, so thank you to everyone who joined the meeting. I'm going to stop sharing and end the recording, and we will be posting the recording and the presentation to our presentations website, as well as getting questions, getting the answers back to the questions we were not able to address, such as the questions on law enforcement. Okay, thank you.